Hello, everyone. This is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So, I can't stress enough, feedback is greatly important. And feel free to either reach me through email, Substack, follow me on Substack, fill up the comments in Substack. Substack has their way of a message board. Follow me on X, give comments there. And, of course, YouTube is greatly important because I think YouTube is a good platform for all of its problems and issues to get the message out and the word out about content and, your thoughts. And then Zed Education, Tyler Zed said it greatly. He said, it's like watching television, but you're interactive television. So, yeah, that's a good tidbit to keep in mind about YouTube. It's all about viewer comments. And then the feedback grows the channel. All right, so this episode runs on the theme of the month of October. And so I'm going to focus in on Anna Kendrick's new movie that's coming out for Netflix on October 18th, I believe. And I'm going to give my social commentary about it. And I'm also going to give my commentary about the true events that it's based on. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to dive into my thoughts before I get into the facts and everything, two-pronged facts about Anna Kendrick's, and then also the facts about what at the horrific event that actually happened due to this and the retelling of this. So, the really good YouTube content creator called the Real Femme Sapien. Now, she brought up a very poignant point. And this is what I'm saying about this. So she said and that's why I'm hoping, trying to give the benefit of the doubt that it won't go left field, left center, and to where, and then I'm using this as a means of just going far off the mark of the relevant point of making films like this is to get to the center of the truth of what the broken down aspects of what happens in a society that pushes certain agendas. That's one aspect. Now, it's not a whole that, it wouldn't be fair for me to say, and it's not fair to do, to just see it focus in on one thing, but it's something to bring to light, to be very delicate and very honest about it. So, as I was saying about this this really good, she makes very good content. So, again, it's she's on YouTube, and I would suggest checking her out. So, it's the Real Femme Sapien. And what she was talking about, she mentioned that with a year ago about Kendrick's and her relationship. And 6-year relationship, it wasn't something that was in a stable relationship. She wasn't married to this man. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. It wasn't set to a point to where they both in the relationship knew what was going on. So, me briefly talking about this gets to the point of the matter about her directing this movie, that I'm hoping that it really focuses in on the aspect of how could something like this happen. And so, okay, I'm going to honestly, say that maybe it was a thing because, well, at the time when the dating show was prevalent, it was around the times of it started in the 60s and around the time of the 70s when this happened. And so at that time, it was being pushed where women's lived, and it specifically with feminism. And so that the whole notion of feminism, it pushed the aspects of saying that women don't have to be submissive anymore. That's sort of a negative connotation, to be submissive to a man. And then women, it's great you want to go into the workforce and everything like this, but at the other aspect of that, losing your identity into that, into where you don't find a real value or a real meaning of having a meaningful relationship with a man. You feel like he's either you're either superior to him, or you're in competition with him. And so out of that, unfortunately, the aspect of free love, which was linked in the 60s and turned into a whole different perspective in the 70s, to where that's that woman's right to be assertive by being promiscuous. Promiscuous. Being, as they say now, hot girl summer 304s, right? And so, with that being said, when you get into the horrific details about what happened, with how was this allowed into the factor of a serial killer being able to not only go into the aspects of registering and competing in the show, it just got to a point where he was able access to this woman, and it ended to her demise, and it's very sad. So it pinpoints to me to the aspects of perpetuating the ideas about, that's cute and that's nice about the aspects of courtship, but it's one of those things that not erase the aspect of how prevalent that is to do your due diligence and to do things like for the aspects of this, where you do that the old-fashioned or the traditional methods of meeting people. And so what I'm saying about this is the aspects of going to social gatherings, as far as that and so that's, you find problems with that too, as far as, picnics in the park, or, art things of that nature. And then also the tradition of church and religion, if you're religious, meeting people like that. And then just do, as far as recreational things, as far as being active, things like that, meeting people by, as far as wellness, meeting people that way. And so this also leads to the issues of today, in which we're plagued with the aspects of meeting people online versus the reality of the situation of meeting people in the real world. Now, I'm not no one to shun away or shun against the aspects of dating on the internet, because that's how I met my husband. And, at the time I was in grad school, and it's one of those things, trying to weigh your options of what to do. But I was very mindful and very purposeful. I had a lot of purpose in finding a connection, because I was really at the mentality of finding my husband and finding a husband. And it was a whole lot of just horrible things and weird things, that, but I just kept going to a different route to find what I'm really looking for, and then I finally found him. And then, but that's the whole point that I'm trying to address and trying to make about a movie like this. It brings up that prevalent point of the aspect of really delving into the deepness of the capacity of seeing things for what they actually are versus seeing things of what you want to see, and then how that takes a strange torn path when we have the aspects of serial killers and sociopaths taking advantage of these situations to where it should be a prevalent thing to talk about and get the message out about how do we as humans, as a society, as a culture, band together to where these sort of things. Now that's a huge feat to take, but it's something to notice and see, about this. How can we shape and make things better? And then it's also one of those things where, too, with how sad and sick that can be, that's also bringing it prevalent too, particularly with contestants in game shows, because at the foremost front on game shows, they take everything at good faith. And so they're trusting that the contestant is saying who they are, is who they say they are. And that is a slippery slope that can happen with taking advantage of it, in which I think personally, I think is what happened in this horrific event. All right, with that being said, let's get into the facts of the matter about first Kendrick's directorial debut with this, and the aspects of when it's coming out and the details about it, and then I'm going to go into the true event facts and detailed descriptions. Now, I'm not going to go into, of course, the horror about it, but to surface in on so you get that point of view about what was going on in the true event of the matter of this movie, or what it's based on, so you actually understand it and put all of that together. And for those who already know, you already know, but so I'm putting that out there. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this, or listen to this. All right, so let's get on to the source. Now, this is from Independent. And, of course, the sources will be provided for you in this episode. It's entitled Women of the Hour, and the Kendrick's movie is based on the real-life serial killer who won a dating show. So, it's also subtitled, in 1978, Ronnie Alcala appeared on the dating game while in midst of a killing spree. So this was this article was first published Tuesday, August 13th of 2024. So Anna Kendrick is making her directorial debut with the forthcoming thriller Women of the Hour, which is based on the true story of the serial killer Ronnie Alcala. So it's scheduled to release, and I saw an ad. So this one is talking about on September 8th, but I saw an ad for Netflix that it will appear on October 18th on Netflix. So, Woman of the Hour recounts the real events of Alcala, played by Daniel Zaffato, I believe, who appears as a contestant on the popular game show, The Dating Game, where he competes and wins a date with the episode's bachelorette, Cheryl Bradshaw, which will be played by Anna Kendrick. So, Alcala introduces himself on the game show, telling Cheryl and the advances of that everything is going to be all said and good, and everything will be fine. And, again, the sickness of putting her mind at ease that she made a good choice. So now I am going to go into more of the aspects of this true event. All right. In September of 1978, Alcala appeared as Bachelor number 1 on The Dating Game, a TV show that had men and women interviewed to, it was cheeky, as it says, cheeky and, campy, going along the lines of that. Interview prospective dates sight unseen. At the time, he was a convicted offender against children. But the show didn't run a background check. Alcala was introduced as a successful photographer who got his start when his father found him in the darkroom at the age of 13. When asked by Cheryl Bradshaw his prospective date to describe what kind of meal he'd be, he answered, "I'm called the banana." And as a double entendre, looking to be peeled. Alcala's use of charm and innuendo won him a date with Bradshaw. However, when they met face to face, she felt Alcala was acting really creepy and opted not to go out with him again. Alcala, the essence of the Ted Bundy, with that, was good looking, charming, long hair. Often told women he was a fashion photographer who wanted to take photos for a contest. His intelligence and charm made him very persuasive. So, says Alcala, because he'd been arrested in 1979, later told people he was so easy to trust. He had a way of talking to people that really put them at ease. But once he had lured the victims, the evil inside of his self emerged. He assaulted the women and girls he attacked before getting rid of many of them. Autopsy of some of the Alcala victims were very horrific. Now, all right, so I'm going to get on to the later part of everything. I'm not going to get into the details of all of this. I'm going to opt out of all the graphic details. So, in 2016, Alcala was charged with the 1977 crimes of Christine Ruth Thornton in Wyoming, through prosecutors opt not to extradite him to stand trial. Authorities also believe he killed another woman by the name of Pamela Lamson in San Francisco Bay Area as of the fall of 77. Now, following the disappearance, a sketch of the suspect was issued. Alcala parole officer saw it and recognized him. Police tracked down Alcala, who was arrested on July 24th of 79. Now, in 2010, police shared many of these photos with the public in hopes of identifying those in the pictures. Some people were alive and came forward. The photos added in identifying the Thornton victim as one of Alcala's. And Alcala died on July 24th of 2021 in California's San Jose Valley while awaiting execution. He was 77. All right, so I'm going to give my final thoughts and wrap all of this up. All right, so these are my closing remarks that I have to give for this movie. So it turns out, to add on to that this will be the American premiere of this movie. So it actually premiered on September, the date that I was saying earlier is September 8th of last year in Canada. And so it'll premiere on Netflix on the 18th here. And so my closing remarks are this. Again, it's one of those things where, it's very telling about how, I'll put it in from this perspective. So I believe it was either the mid-60s or the early 70s. And so this woman who wanted to off her husband decided to tamper with some Tylenol. And because of that, we have the aspects of proofing medicine. And then on top of that, we have the aspects of child lock caps. We have all of these innovations out of that. And so my point leading to this is this doesn't necessarily have to be a means to an end to something extreme to happen in order to get to the reality of the situation of what we should be thinking about already about the aspects of everything as far as our safety and how we think of relationships and dangers, or is it one of those unfortunate tolls of the aspects of the realities, the unfortunate realities of a modern world? Oh, sorry about that. I accidentally pressed my washing machine. So, with that being said, I'm really hoping, and that's up for debate, I'm really hoping that when this movie comes out, it really pays attention to the crucial issues of the aspects of the importance of the conversations that can come out of, this tragic thing that happens, is the thing about the aspects of how it's really sad also to put on to that what I'm narrowing a lot of my focus on. And it's really sad about how you can't go on good faith. You gotta, be very strict with screening and everything. And so, and then also seeing it from the lens of perspective of that era of, not seeing things the way we see things now. And then along the lines of the aspects too of how this is something that, it's unfortunate too, specifically when we go into the aspects of the sensation and the hype with true crime, particularly true crimes shows or true crime podcasts, when they don't get it right, when they don't understand the aspects of getting to the bottom line, getting to the truth in a matter of what happened in the case, or just presenting the facts for what it is instead of sensationalizing the facts, and then it becomes a weird sort of fad or trend, and that shouldn't be the thing. It should be a thing where this is a pivotal, important and impactful learning lesson. And so now I'm not placing all that onto Anna Kendrick's her doctoral debut, but I'm just stating the obvious about how that tends to happen, and now, even more so now, when we hear about cases like this, that it doesn't, most of the time, it doesn't go into the fact of the matter about what actually happened and understanding the story and learning from it, and then and out of way of the respect of the loved ones and the victims of the loved ones and the victim, and really getting a better understanding. And so, of course, that's my perspective about it. Not everybody has that point of view, but I'm just talking and addressing that. And so I'd like to know what you all think about this aspect of this movie coming out. And please feel free to flood the comments and about the Alcala case and all of the true events of that, and then everything that happened with that, with the dating game. So feel free to email me, follow me on Substack, give me comments on Substack. They have that now where you can do a message board thing. Follow me on X, give me messages on X, and of course fill up those comments on YouTube. All right, so this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. Tune in, turn up, and absolutely take care out there. Bye-bye now.